Hi, I'm Sonya White Jaguar. Welcome to this edition of White Jaguar Wednesdays, my semi-monthly series where I discuss spiritual subjects inspired by your questions. Someone asked me whether Alan Rickman is omnipresent and omniscient. That's a great question because he exhibits all kinds of different behaviors. How can he be everywhere at once? And how much does he know? Alan routinely works with people all over the world. For example, one night at the weekly Reiki circle at Spiritus Reiki Center, Alan was assisting me, giving Reiki to the person that I was working on, and while at the same time, a friend of mine, a Reiki level 2 practitioner, was working on someone across the circle from me, and he asked Alan to assist him too. So how is it possible for Alan to do that, right? Work on two people at the same time? And can all spirits do things like that? Okay. So to start with, I'd like to share some short passages from my free book on Wattpad, From Actor to Healer, Alan Rickman's New Life as a Spirit Guide, Book 2, because I think some of the experiences that I've had with Alan over the years help to answer this question. And then I'll share what I channeled from Alan when I asked him specifically if he had something to share today. Okay? So here's what I wrote in Book 2 of From Actor to Healer. I asked Alan to describe his perception of space and time from the higher dimension and explain how he can be in multiple places at the same time. Then the older man appeared in my mind's eye. Standing outside an ice skating rink, he pointed to groups of children who were skating around the rink and talking to one another. He said the rink represented the physical world filled with people moving around, living their lives. He explained that he could observe the entire rink, seeing every skater and hearing every conversation at the same time. Because he was outside the rink, he perceived their experiences of time and space all at once. Alan said, my experience of the skaters, on the other hand, would be different since I'm in the physical world. If I wanted to hear everyone's conversations, I would have to skate around the rink and listen to each conversation one at a time. But because of the bounds of space and time, that's not possible. During the time I'd be skating from group to group, I would miss some of the conversations. My experience of the material world is limited to linear time flow and the space I occupy at any given moment. So then Alan offered another analogy. In my mind's eye, a straight dirt road stretched out before me. He said, imagine that the road represents your physical life. You're traveling along the road in linear time. Now look up. Gazing upward, I spotted a large white cloud sitting motionless high above me. Alan continued, I'm like the cloud. People standing miles apart who aren't necessarily in contact with each other are looking up at the cloud at the same time. Everyone has a different perspective of the cloud, a different experience from their location on the ground, but it's only one cloud. In a similar fashion, I appear to be everywhere at once because I occupy a location where everyone can see me at the same time. You have a linear experience of space and time, while I see through a different lens of consciousness. I see in terms of possibilities. Time is a perception of the beholder. It's as real as you are to me and I am to you. However, it is part of a subjective reality. Your very life is a subjective reality. As a guide, I am learning to work with all of it. Time and space as you understand them, your subjective experience of reality, and your very life itself. Okay, so in a nutshell, that's what Alan had to say about being in multiple places at once. Now, how much does he know? Okay, here's an example of something that had happened to me. One day at work in April 2019, Alan repeated throughout the day, a massive change is coming in your life. A massive change is coming in your life. He didn't elaborate, so I had no idea what he was referring to. As I was preparing to leave work at the end of the day, I finally had to tell him to be quiet. I understand, I shouted. I heard what you said. Let's just let it unfold. I drove home without incident, so I thought Alan had been wrong. I was about to dismiss his words as nonsense until I pulled halfway into my garage. Then I discovered what his insistent warning had been all about. The right front tire rode over something bulky, and a loud screech followed that could only belong to my cat, Moochie. I quickly stopped the car and bolted out to the passenger side. I'll never know if Moochie had been sleeping in the garage and didn't get out of the way, or if she had bounded through the cat flap to greet me and carelessly got too close to the car. No doubt her health had impaired her faculties. Although I didn't know her exact age because I'd adopted her as a stray, I suspected she was somewhere between 17 and 19 by this time. Her health had been declining because of kidney disease. She didn't have much longer to live, but to see her go this way absolutely broke my heart. I found consolation by telling myself this may have been more humane than letting her disease continue to rob her of her quality of life. Because of Alan's warning throughout the day, I asked him if he had known this was going to happen. He said, all I knew was that she was leaving. I didn't know how or when exactly. I was prepared to greet her, that's all. And you were allowed to give me a warning, I asked. Yes, sort of. I repeated to you what Spirit had said to me. I hear messages from Spirit too. I follow the guidance I receive like you do. Thanks for answering my questions, I said. It helps to ease my grief. Then Alan asked me to open YouTube on my phone and search for Alan Rickman Theater. When I scrolled down, a video popped up that had recently been added, an audience recording of Seminar, a play Alan had done in 2011. It was the full play, not a clip. I had read the paperback during my study of his work, so I was familiar with the story. It was a comedy, and Alan's character was outrageous. I was elated that I could now watch the entire production and see his performance. That was Alan's way of cheering me up. I watched the recording that night during dinner. It was as if Alan had given me a ticket to the show and I was sitting in the front row. I thanked him profusely for the gift, as it lifted my spirits and lessened my grief. Because I appreciated and acknowledged the gesture, Alan did the same thing a couple months later. Again, he instructed me to search YouTube for Alan Rickman Theater, and one of the first results that appeared was an old radio play called Rope, which he'd done when he was young. Alan had wasted little time bringing it to my attention, as the file had just been added to YouTube that week. I wondered if he was aware of every article, photo, and video about him that was posted online at any given moment, so I asked him. Alan replied, I am aware of most postings on social media and other sites, yes. I don't always see them right away, in real time as it were, because my perception is on a different time scale, which is difficult to explain, but I do see what I'm supposed to see. Picture a baseball game in progress. You can see the entire baseball diamond and all the players on the field. You know what inning it is and which team is at bat. You know the rules of the game and the strategy each team is employing to win. You know how the game is being played, although you may not see every movement of every player or every hand signal from every coach. You may not know beforehand the outcome of every play or every game, but you watch closely, and moment by moment, play after play, you gain understanding. You learn how every facet of the game comes together to form a greater whole. That's how I see your world, and that's how I work as a guide. I asked him how much he knew and how he got his information. He said, I receive pictures in my mind from your life about a day or a day and a half in advance. Sometimes they are easy to decipher. Other times they are a little cryptic. I don't always know what to do if it is vague. I go to my teachers for clarification and guidance when I need to. When I first started working as a guide, I went to them quite often, as I feared making mistakes. They taught me well and showed me how to use what you said and did each day for additional guidance. They also told me to review your past for clues, because life goes through cycles. There are repeating patterns, even if the lessons are different. It's all about lessons. Once I understood more fully the lessons you were to learn in this life, it became much easier to guide you. So based on what I've learned from Alan, he's able to basically be everywhere at once because he's outside of space and time, but he doesn't know everything. He's not omniscient. When I asked him today for further insight, I said to him, the fact that you're able to be in multiple places at once and see what you see, is that a trait of the higher dimension? Do all spirits have that ability? Or is this something that you're able to do because you're working as a guide? Alan said, I am able to see what I'm allowed to see, forward and backward in time, and in various locations throughout the universe and beyond, because of the work I'm doing and because of the growth I've achieved as a developing soul. I see what serves my development. Most souls are capable of that. However, it's much more than that. As you understand, The universe is a playground or learning center, which is constructed within a system that has no boundaries. In other words, the universe is non-local. You are able to perform spiritual healing work across great distances, astral travel, and converse with beings like myself across dimensions. You are proving that the ability to transcend being in one physical location and to generate an immediate effect across great distances is possible for anyone. It's not limited to those of us in the higher dimension. It's a trait of consciousness, and that's what you are. That's what we all are. That's what I'm trying to teach you. Well, thank you, Alan. And I can say that I'm a willing student. I want to learn, and I'm happy to continue channeling. And I trust that Alan will continue to teach. So again, thank you, Alan, for all of your insights. It's much appreciated. So now let's further demonstrate that ability to work across great distances. I asked Alan beforehand if he'd like to send some healing energy at the end of this video. And he said that fear and anxiety are very high all around the world right now. So he would like to send healing to you to help with that. And I agree. So let's do that. So go ahead and make yourself comfortable, and I will invite Alan to join us. So now I'm asking for Alan Rickman, the British actor who died in 2016. Alan, would you please come and channel divine love to all the viewers of this video to help reduce and heal any fear or anxiety or worry that you're feeling. Let the energy help you to let go of whatever is troubling you at this time. Okay, all in the highest and best way. Thank you. Okay, now let's give Alan a moment to do that. Thank you, Alan. I hope that you felt that. I felt encased in white light, and I felt some energy kind of like being carried away. Okay. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this discussion. Next time, I'll be talking about the roles that spirit guides play in our lives. Are they assigned to us? Do they remain with us for life? What reasonable expectations should we have about spirit guides? Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, so you'll be notified when that video is posted. You can also sign up for my newsletter on my website, SONYA'S.com, and you can get notified that way. I send out newsletters twice a month. They contain inspirational messages from Alan and exclusive sneak peeks at my books in progress. You'll also receive a free meditation guide. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.